My name is Stephanie Rosen, and I'm from 3G Miami. I'm excited to be moderating a virtual conversation with Hein Piller de Bruijn, the main principal of the film, and the director, Raymond Grimbergen. This film, Destination Sobibor, is premiering at this year's film festival. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Gentlemen, we really appreciate you being here, and we have some questions just to get started. The first I wanted to ask is, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves, where you're from, where you lived in the past, where you live currently, how you know each other, and how you had this idea for the film?
Okay, well, let me start. I'm Raymond. I'm from Amsterdam, Holland. I was born in a little town close to Amsterdam, like 20 minutes away from here. And well, living in Amsterdam with my girlfriend and two daughters now. And I know Hein because he's one of my best friends for 15 years now, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I came from a little village here in the south of Holland called Maasland. And then I went to Rotterdam. There's another, well, the second biggest city of Holland. And then I went to Amsterdam. And when I got there in the beginning of that I was here, that we met each other.
Yeah, we met, and it was love at first sight.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah.
And then, but how did you share the story? How did you discover this story and decide that this would be something, that would be film worthy, which it certainly is?
Yes, well, obviously Hein came up with the story, came to me. I'm a filmmaker, and he wanted to do a documentary about, well, his family and what happened during the Second World War. So he asked me to make this journey with him all the way to Sobibor, and yeah, I immediately I saw a story in it, because it's this time it's a story about a young person still busy with the Second World War, and that interested me. And well, he asked me if I would film this road trip of him to Sobibor, and well, because he's my best friend and I'm interested in everything he does and everything he thinks and everything that goes on in his life. I wanted to make this journey with him and film it, because I think, yeah, well, that could be a great documentary. Yeah.
No, it certainly was. So once you made the decision to do this as a film, how did it, can you carry us through a little bit from, the start of the idea to, did you put a little bit of a script, or I'm not sure how that worked, if you, made a bit of a dialogue or wrote it out a little bit? Did you need funding? And then when was the first day of shooting?
Yeah, well, there was a script, but it was not really, it was only a couple of pages. The most of the script was in my head, because I wanted to be surprised by what Hein was going to tell me. I know a lot about the Second World War, because here in Holland, in Europe, well, kids get educated in that. So I knew a lot about it, but not everything. And before we went on with this movie, I wasn't like, I want to know everything. I don't want to know everything where we are going, because I want Hein to tell me. But Hein also didn't know everything. So making the film was kind of doing research about the past of his family members. And of course, I did my research, and I know where we had to go, and I spoke to people, and I read a lot. So I was prepared, but I didn't. There was not like a script, We talked about, okay, themes in the film. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about that, and Westerbork and Berlin and Pila and Warsaw, and of course Sobibor. So I knew what the subjects would be, but I didn't really know how to ask the questions to Hein because I didn't know how he would be feeling at the moment we were there. So that was a big a challenge because I had to think of questions while we were at those places. But that was also, I think, good for the film. So, well, in short, there was a script, but it was very short. It was all in my head, and it was all about what Hein would give me in his answers that I could ask other questions. Yes.
Okay. And when did you start shooting?
We started shooting in September 2019 in Amsterdam. And a couple of months later, we went by train first to Westerbork in the east of Netherlands, and then we went on to Germany. Yes.
Hein, how was it for you, to go along with this journey? Just tell us just your feelings. I mean, we saw the film, everybody's watching knows what happened in the film, but just for you now, a few months later, how do you look back on that? How would you describe the experience?
Yeah, it was, well, really difficult to describe because I went on a journey and on a literally journey, with my best friend and following the step that my Jewish family made, and that was, well, yeah, it was in the good and in the bad. It was, yeah, just so yeah, well, inspiring it was, but it was also really, I was really afraid. It was it was a roller coaster. That I think that's the best way to describe it. And also because we didn't prepare it that much, we just went. You prepare the things that you knew, but not in detail, because I didn't know that much things about my own family. We, during the making the film, we discovered new things, so that there was, it was also a journey for me in that kind of so yeah. When I was flying back, then I knew that I made a really, well, for me, it was a really special story, and also for my family. But later on, I also, with talking with other Jewish people, they said, well, you did a really, well, a special thing because, and well, I'm not so conscious about that, but now I can imagine that going into the camps literally with the train and what I did was really special. And I'm not a hero or that kind of stuff, but I made the trip that my grandmother and father did, and my aunts, and yeah, and I really got in touch with them during that journey, and then I get really in touch with my Jewish identity. So that's the short version. I really get in touch with who I am, and I had to make this trip to get more in touch with who I am as a Jew.
This is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of people can relate to the journey and trying to discover and to learn more about themselves. Some quick questions. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have 3 brothers.
And how do they feel about this project?
Yeah, one of those, that's the oldest brother, is missing, still missing. He's went to India, and there he got lost, and that was in 1999. So that's 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago, and so I don't know how. Yeah, that's also a thing.
Your family has
I don't know why, but it's so he don't know. So he don't know that I made this movie, but also he was really in touch with his Jewish identity. Well, and maybe that's another story for now, but okay. And then we got my 2 other brothers. and one of them is really related to the Jewish identity, and is also he's a writer, and he writes stories about his Jewish identity and how he feels. So that's a person or a brother that I really can relate on that subject or with that identity. But in my family, it's just a difficult. So yeah, it's a difficult subject. It's difficult to talk about it, and also with my mother, she supports it in a kind of way, but also she finds it's really difficult to face the things I do. So well, it's difficult.
Right. And none of the other siblings wanted to participate in the film. This is a project only you wanted to do, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's also because I thought it was the best way to talk about my own view and not to have the discussion about what's the opinion about my other brother or yeah, it's getting too difficult. So I want to make a pure story about how I feel and make it yeah, so true as possible. And if it affects other stories, and also because it are my brothers, is it, well, it affects the, I don't know how I have to call it, but it makes it more confusing, you know.
I understand. I think you did a very good job of delivering a clear image. There was a lot going on without bringing more in. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then let me ask you now, with some distance, right? Because I saw copyright was 2021, but it's been a few months since the film was finished.
Yeah.
Have you changed some of your feeling? Has it changed now that you had time to process? Do you feel differently about, say, for example, you mentioned anti-Semitism and how you don't really think about it too much, or I don't want to make sure I quote you properly, something about keeping a wall up with regards to anti-Semitism. Do you feel differently about it now that you've been there? Or how do you feel about anti-Semitism in general?
Yeah, because the line of anti-Semitism is well, that's a difficult subject, I think, because well, on the other hand, what I can say is that I'm more in touch with my Jewish identity, and that I'm more well, proud to tell that I'm a Jew and that I do what I do, and by making the film, I'm more confident about myself that I can well speak up or tell people that that this is my story. So it helped me to get more well in line with my identity, and that's a thing. And yeah, there is also a relationship with well, anti-Semitism and well, when I'm feeling really emotional, I now have the feeling, well, I am a Jew and I want to tell you that I am a Jew. So that's the other part of it. I'm not gonna, well, I'm getting more, how do you say it, more, um, I want to show the world that this is my story, and I don't want to. I want to tell you that this is who I am, and this is my story. So,
More open.
Yeah, open. Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing I want, and I don't want to be afraid, or I don't want to be scared anymore, and that's a feeling that I have. So I want to spread the word. That's maybe
Interesting. So actually, did I understand correctly in the film? There's a part where you're looking for Sobibor, and you ask directions. This is not with the guard. Like when you get to the guard, you tell the guard why you're there. But you're a little bit further out and you're asking for directions. I thought it was interesting that there were like cyclists and joggers and, just like a normal, like right where all these people died. But anyway, and you ask and you don't tell them why you're there, right? You said you gave a different reason.
Yeah.
Remind me why you said you were there, and were you nervous to say that you were Jewish? Did you not want to tell the truth at that point? tell me what happened there.
Yeah, but it's we have to make it short. But when you look at my history, I was always inconvenienced, or I was not. I find it really difficult to talk about the aspect that I am a Jew, or pronouncing the words. It was really difficult for me for all those years. And after making the movie, I was really more at ease with telling people I am a Jew. I'm Jewish. But also the thing that was with Sobibor, because you did your research, we did our research, and the camp was closed. So there was also a thing, but we wanted to, maybe you could tell something about that, because we wanted to go there, but we also knew that it was closed.
Yeah, we knew it was closed because of renovation they were doing there. We knew it was closed, and but we went anyway because in 2020 it was 75 years ago that the Second World War ended. So I thought that was a good a good year to bring out the film, to finish the film. So we knew it was close, but we had to go. For me, it was always like, okay, the last scene will be there on the train platform in Sobibor, and there was something in my mind that I wanted to do, but well, it didn't happen. So we were there, and I was just shooting some B-roll, some shots of the station, and some train signs and some flowers. And then I heard in my headphones, I heard Hein talking to somebody, and I thought, who is it? Who is here, and why is he talking to Hein? The shot is also a very wide shot, you know. It's very far away that you see him talking to the man. And we thought, well, I thought, and I think Hein also thought, it's strange that this guy comes to us asking what we are doing there. So that's why I keep a distance from Hein and this guy, because I couldn't judge what it was about. And I think Hein had the same. Talking to this guy, later on we learned who he was, and that all was okay. But if somebody comes to you and we are in the neighborhood of a closed camp asking what you're doing, then then you're not like free to talk. Well, we're doing a documentary, and I'm a Jewish, and my family. It's not something you say just like that. Afterwards, we told him, but I think, but you didn't tell him. Then the guy was just giving directions. He came there every year. He told us that there was a path behind a chapel, and then you can come in, and there is a line, but you can go under it, and then you go into the camp. But we didn't want to break the rules, so we didn't know what we had to do with the information. But well, we went for it, of course. So I think that's why we were not open. I was not open filming him. I kept a distance, and Hein was not open
because of my background, but also because of because I didn't know what his intentions was, so that was also the case. But he was an angel.
Yeah.
Eventually, he was an angel.
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
I'm so glad.
He stimulated us to go to look further.
Yeah.
And well, maybe when he didn't do that, we didn't go to the camp. So that was
that's it. Then we wouldn't go. And
so it was really beautiful.
Yeah.
Eventually.
I'm so glad you got to do that. So when I know you said it's been closed since 2017. I didn't realize it was for construction. I didn't know if it had to do with COVID and it didn't look like it was under construction, though, the way you were shooting it. Did you see works? Did you see why it should be closed? Could you tell?
Well, there were a lot of fences, and there were all signs in Polish. I think also in English, camp is closed for renovation. But when we went in, then we saw a part of the new monument they're building. And this guy, he told us later that we were the first visitors since 1.5 years, I think. So we could see they were constructing it. Yeah, we could see it. Yes, yes.
But the reason why is because of they found well, I have difficult these to translate it, but they found well, not leftovers, but remains or remains of people, and it was wider spread than they eventually thought. So it was just around a whole big space of the area. And then research from Israel, they also did their research on where that area was, and then they had to close the camp so they can also define where you can walk or where you couldn't walk. So it was a big big renovation.
Okay, did you find out, are they opening soon? I'm just feeling it's a long time to be closed. I know COVID and everything, but you know, people, you're not the only ones that want to go. Did they say?
No, I don't know when it's open, but no, I really don't know. Well, it would last for years, he told us. So I don't know when it will be open again.
Yeah.
So it was really special for us to get in. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you feel anti-Semitism when you were in Poland at all?
No.
No.
But I don't feel at ease in the country. And I'm a Polish Jew, so that's also a contradiction. But or maybe not. But no, not directly or whatever. No, but when we went to Poland, Pila, there wasn't any remains of Jewish cemetery or Jewish houses, or Jewish synagogues. So yeah, I was really hurt by that. You know, not even something. You know,
No.
and that was yeah. That said enough. That said enough. That says enough.
Yeah, you expect more, but we couldn't find it. Only this little part of the Jewish cemetery behind some line with people's clothes on it. Yeah, well, we expected more, but it wasn't there.
Thank you so much for sharing this part. I wanted to ask about your mother a little more, Hein.
Yep.
What does she know? I mean, I know in the movie you talk about that that gentleman who at Westerbrook, when you asked, how did my mom, like, where would this have happened, that maybe somebody handed her, I mean, it's really quite a miracle that she survived. And so what does she know? I know you mentioned, like, you don't know, there was breastfeeding that must have gone on, or she was fed, you know, how was she raised? At what point does she have memories, and when did she share them with you? You know, what can you say? What can you say about that?
Yeah, that's really difficult because I think her first memories was when she was in Maasland, and she was born in Amsterdam, and Amsterdam Jewish family. So the first memories she told me about, and I think that there were her first memories was in Maasland, and that was in her with the parents that she grew up with, and I knew that there were my grandfather and grandmother. So I think that was her first memory from the little town that she grew up, and that she also knew that she wasn't. When she was really young, she knew that she didn't belong there, or that she not directly, or she wasn't told that she didn't belong there, but she had that feeling for quite a young age when she was really young. So.
And she knows she was raised by people who were not her parents, I guess, right? I mean, she was how old when she ended up with this other family? Do you know?
Yeah, well, she knew that, but well, it's difficult because my my mother, she talks about it, and when you have questions, she gives answers, but really have a conversations, it's more a Q&A. It's like a Q&A. So you ask a question, you get an answer, but a dialogue or maybe explaining something more. So a lot of questions are not answered, and well, she's now getting aged, so it's difficult. But yeah.
I understand. I commend you for going on this journey to answer some of the questions maybe you couldn't get answers on. You know, what a beautiful journey. And Raymond, what an amazing gift to do this together, you know, and to
Yeah.
help really, and so that so many of us can experience along with you.
Yeah.
Tell me on a lighter note for a moment, why did you choose to film the movie in black and white?
I chose to film the movie black and white for two reasons. One, stylistic. I just think it's beautiful. But this was the only movie that would be good in black and white, and that's because in Europe or everywhere, Second World War, we know from black and white images, and this is a story that takes place now. And to bring the past into the present, I could do that with color, or actually the lack of color. So you see a young man searching for his identity, family, in present day, but with the feeling, with the black and white feeling of history. So I think it's good to put history into the present day, because for Hein, it's not history. It's still present day, how he feels about it. And so that's why I chose to do it in black and white. And I could also have done it in color, of course, and then in post-production I could turn back the colors and ended up with black and white, but it was really black and white. So everything that I saw in my viewfinder was also black and white, so I could really see how the movie would feel like when it was finished. So everything I shot was really black and white. And it was a stylistic choice, but it was also a choice of, I thought it suited very well in this subject.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
What other kinds of films have you done? Have you ever done a similar film, or what is there a certain genre that you usually work in?
I made another documentary. Well, Hein already mentioned it. This is actually our second documentary together. Hein has a missing brother. He went missing in India during a world trip in 1999. And we went to India in 2016, I think, because partly the same reason. He wanted to go there. He wanted to be with his brother, or where he could have been, and he asked me to follow him, and I did. And because of that documentary, I know that Hein is quite a good subject for a documentary, and he had another story to tell. So we have the missing brother, but also this story about his family. So that was also why I was very confident in that this would turn out okay if I would go with him on his road trip. And next to that, I also do fiction films. So I made a high school youth movie, and I'm now busy doing a women's soccer movie, sports film. Yeah, but that's fiction. I just love cinema, you know. So if it's fiction or documentary, I don't care if the subject is good. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Hein, do you want, I don't know if time permits, but I think you both touched upon your brother in India. Do you want to elaborate just a little bit more about that? I mean, I'm sure the audience can find the movie. I actually would like to find it myself now. But maybe you could just tell a little bit about that story. You touched upon that brother was very in contact with his Jewish identity.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Okay. It's maybe difficult just to talk about him in a maybe can ask me some specific question that's maybe better because
Okay, maybe Raymond, you could just sort of outline what that movie is about so the audience can understand what that, you know.
Well, the movie is about Hein has a brother. He's called Maarten, who went missing in India, and it was not only his brother but also his best friend. He always told me, and it was devastated for them for him to not return home, and he always wanted to go to India to be closer to his brother. You know, when someone dies, that's terrible, but when someone's missing, that's even more terrible because you don't know what happened to him, or maybe he's alive. So he always wanted to go to India to be as close to his brother as he can. There's no grave to mourn. There's nothing you can do in Holland. So the only thing he could do is go to India and be as close to his brother as he could. So we made that movie. I followed him all the way up to the Himalayas, and of course we didn't find him because maybe he's not even alive. But what we did find was Hein's feeling about his brother and the deep feeling he still has for him. That's what he found, and he didn't find closure to it, but it was something he had to do, and with all the pain and all the difficulties he has there in the north of India. I, as a filmmaker, could really relate to what he felt about his brother. So it's more a story about brother love, you know, instead of searching for somebody. And,
It sounds like there are quite some parallels actually between the two films.
There are, yes. Yeah, also there was the two of us. Yes, well, Hein's father was with us, so there was another subject to film, and later his younger brother also came, but it was also me and Hein in another country.
in a difficult
In a difficult situation. Yes.
Yeah, but I think the similarities are there because it's a difficult subject, and I wanted to also show the world here in Holland that it's how does it affect the people who stay behind, you know, and also with people who are missing. I wanted to show them my feeling about that, and also what was it 50 years later, you know, so it has the same elements. That's true. And well, the Jewish part of him, because he went from Israel. He went from Ireland. He went to Israel, and in Israel, he was the first time that he was there. He met also a girlfriend, an Israeli girlfriend, and he was suggested to go also to India, and a lot of Israeli people go from take the same path he took, and there are a lot of similarities with what he did, and a lot of people who were in the army and went to India, because there's also a lot of people. Yeah, well, you know what I'm talking about, right? So yeah, that's really strange, because we are. Well, we come from the Netherlands, but what he did was also what a lot of people from Israel did. So, yeah, and we also made a movie about that, and yeah,
yeah, it was
Very-
5 years ago, I think. Yes.
That's very interesting. I mean, most people don't have these stories, and I'm so glad that you've documented them.
Yeah.
Hein, these are both very heavy, you know, serious. I hope you don't have another something. Is there something else that you're thinking? These are
no. I think that this is it. So
I think this is it.
I don't want to be a subject anymore. No. But
I'm glad we're laughing about it, because it's such heavy stuff. It's important to do that. Do you guys-
We also do.
Sorry, say that again.
we also laugh a lot about it. It's a heavy subject, of course, but we can also laugh. We have to laugh. But yes.
It's important. Are there any particular anecdotes or stories that you want to share about shooting the film? Was there anything that happened that maybe, oh, I think something, I saw a little smile. Was there anything that, not really? Not the,
Oh no, that's the smile was more because we thought of that question because we saw it with the extra questions and we were like, okay, what can we tell? Anecdotes? No, well, not really.
Yeah,
you all went smoothly? The whole thing went,
Sorry?
well,
it all went smoothly? The way you planned, more or less?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was just good planning.
hey, it was a good play, but well, not one story about the Mercedes.
I know you can tell the story about the
Okay.
Mercedes, but I don't know if it's funny.
Okay,
Doesn't have to be funny.
Well, tell it.
Well-
Tell it. Now she's curious. Tell her.
Well, in Dutch it's I can tell it really it's in a humoristic way, but try talking tell it in English. Now we had it was a pressure cooker, you know. 9 days we were traveling and we did it city by city and you planned the whole thing with hotels and whatever. So everything was okay, and in that pressure cooker we are just fine. You know, we do our thing and everything is okay. Also with heavy subjects, you know, we are friends and there's also sometimes there's frustration or whatever, but everything was okay until or during the trip. I asked Raymond because he tells how do we get from Warsaw to Sobibor, and that's a difficult thing you just need a car because you cannot do it by train, plane. There's not an airport at Sobibor, so that's difficult. And
So we needed a car.
and I asked a couple of times, okay, did you manage the car? Or he said during the trip, he said, well, I have to fix the car. And just the evening before we went to Sobibor, he in the hotel room, he went booking the car. And he asked me what kind of car.
Yeah, because the car. Okay, so I needed a shot of Hein driving the car, not only from the inside, but I also wanted to show a shot from him driving through the woods of eastern Poland in the car. And well, as you know, the shot is not in movie, and that's because I asked Hein, okay, what kind of car? He said, okay, what are the options? I said, well, we can have a Seat, we can have a Volvo, we can have we could have 100 of cars and a Mercedes.
And I said for the first time, because I'm not a car guy, so I thought, well, I wanted a Mercedes. Just I want to drive a Mercedes. That was my first.
Yeah, that was.
And he said, well, a Mercedes, but we're making a documentary about Jewish family, the Second World War, Mercedes, a Jewish. I said, yeah, why not? He said, why not? It's well, if you see it as a viewer, you know, it's not okay. I said, but I feel it just so I want to make a documentary. So why is it bad? And you said, well, you want to make a documentary. I'm the documentary maker. So that was the first time about a car that we get a thing.
Yeah,
okay.
That we fought.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he booked the Seat.
Yeah, Seat, a Spanish car. I don't know if you know that in America. It's a Spanish car, totally normal car. Everyone is driving them,
and I was totally fine with it. So then we went to the airport at really early in the morning, and
we picked up that car, and the guy at the booking office said, sorry, the Seat is gone. We can't rent you the Seat, but we can give you a free upgrade. You guys get the Mercedes.
Meant to be.
I was like, how is this possible? He was happy, and so we drive in a Mercedes, a German car, an expensive car. We drive from Warsaw to Sobibor, but I did film the shot, but it's not in the movie when you see him driving a Mercedes car onto
Right.
zoning. I just think, well, it doesn't really fit, you know. It's too obvious. The car, you know, it's about Hein, not about the car he drives. So, but
Right.
we went
Right.
very much. And well,
That
that's
is,
like an anecdote, but
that is funny. I understand. I mean, there were many survivors that did not want to buy Jewish, German products.
yeah. Also, and Volkswagen and Mercedes. Yeah, I think. Well, let's not do that. Let's take a less obvious car.
Nee, but it was really nice. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're still we're still not really okay with. Well, it's fine.
Um, I am. You guys have done such a great job talking about the film. I've kind of touched on this one topic a few times, and I kind of want to come back to it. We're in Miami, right? It's the Jewish Film Festival based in Miami, and even though anti-Semitism is rising in the United States, and even here in Miami, it's still a very there are a lot of Jewish people who live in peace here, and I think many of us are fortunate in that we have not really experienced much anti-Semitism. And I asked you if you felt it in Poland. You said no. I'm curious. Hein, you said that you have not wanted. You didn't want you would hide your Judaism before. Was it more because of the past you come from, or was it actually that you've felt anti-Semitism in life in Holland or anywhere in Europe?
no, I think well, it's another thing because I didn't I didn't been raised as a Jew, so my mother is a Jew, so I'm a Jew, but I don't grew up with any other Jews. You know, my mother didn't do something about my well, the religious part of it or the cultural part of it. So I'm just really lost in, well, I am a Jew, but I don't feel it, or I'm not feeling confident about telling other people that I'm a Jew. So I think that's more the thing, that I'm not affected by anti-Semitism right now, but I also grew up in a normal Dutch kind of way. So I had, well, my coming out, I it's like, I think also someone who is gay is coming out, you know, that you're really feeling your identity, and that you are able to spread the word. And that's when I was in my 20s, that was a thing that I was feeling, and now I'm totally free. So that's what you're maybe hearing or feeling, but it isn't about anti-Semitism. But on the other hand, but that's another subject. That's a big subject, you know, in Holland with COVID and the relationship with anti-Semitism or the Jews or whatever. You know, it's just popping up right now. So yeah, that's a thing. If I'm feeling that when I'm out on the streets or just going into cafes, no, but well, you cannot see, or maybe if you see, you know, if are you looking good at me, maybe you can see that I'm a Jew, but it's not that obvious. So I'm just having my normal life here in Holland, and the question is, yeah, in what way do I want to participate in the discussion, or do I want to make a statement? And well, my thing now is that I want to teach my children how it is to do the Shabbat and that kind of stuff, you know, and do the positive kind of way, making documentary and that kind of stuff. Creating new things, but no, yeah, all anti-Semitism. I'm not negative involved or affected by it. No,
Thank you.
but I hearing the news, so I will. But well, there are two different worlds, I think.
Right. No, thank you so much for that answer. And actually, you touched upon something that I don't think we could tell in the movie, that you didn't grow up Jewish. Is that what you're saying? You didn't grow up Jewish? You didn't, did you know you were Jewish?
Yeah, well, oh, a little, a little bit, but no. I think when I was in my 40, 15, hoe zeg ik pubertachtig?
Ja,
Yeah.
je childhood zou ik zeggen.
And when I was 14, 15, the first time I thought, well, there's more going on with me than with my other friends, because I was always really, into my friends in a certain level that my Dutch friends are. Well, I wanted to, hug each other and also give a kiss. So I kissed my friends when I was 15 or 16 or 17. And then I thought, well, I have a good relationship, but they don't want to do it. And that was I think, if I go back, that was the first time that I thought, okay, I'm a little bit different. And also, thinking about life and thinking about, the philosophical kind part of it. That was the first time I thought, well, I feel something different. But it's difficult because I don't have any mirrors. I don't have any reflection on it. So, yeah. So I grew up.
You're saying you're more warm. You had that warm, like, desire for warmth, like to be like, yeah, interesting. And you feel like that was sort of just part of who you are.
Yeah, but I saw that but with my other friends it wasn't the case, because in Holland it's more, how do you call it? It's not that direct, not that's well,
Yeah.
well, without the words, I think you
No, I
understand what
understand. That's interesting. And that's one of those things people wonder if it's nature versus nurture. Is it your community that you learn that from, or is that who you are? So that's interesting. So the Jewish traditions that you seem to know about, like Shabbat, and when did you learn about them? I imagine you did not have a bar mitzvah?
No. We grew up in a Christian kind of way. We went to church and that kind of stuff, because of my mother went by the underground, because that's also the translation of the ondergrondse, and grew up with a Christian kind of way, just going to church and that kind of stuff. So I'm 41 now. Now I'm going. I do the Shabbat and that kind of stuff, and I'm now wanted to maybe get a membership. How do you call it, to the synagogue here in Amsterdam. So I want to proceed in just being more Jewish, also in the practitioner kind of way, So yeah. So I'm getting there, but it's taking a lot of time.
Yeah, but that's quite fascinating. This is a whole other aspect that, I understand you were covering a lot in the film, and I think you did a fabulous job in the 1 hour. I didn't realize that you grew up with with a different religion. So that's quite something that must feel,
Well, it's a good thing to notice, because we didn't mention it in the movie also.
No.
So maybe, I don't know. It's finished now, but yeah.
Oh, maybe there is a third movie.
Yeah, it's the third one.
No, but did you thought that I grew up as a Jew or not by seeing the movie?
It wasn't mentioned, so I didn't. I thought maybe. I mean, I wasn't sure. You talked about your name. Your name change. So I guess I should have been able to surmise from that you didn't grow up Jewish, because your original name was. What was your original last name?
De Bruijn, inderdaad. De Bruijn was my first name, my additional name. Yeah. And then I changed. Yeah.
And have you tried to bring it to just Pilar, as you mentioned in the movie?
Yeah.
Are they letting you now?
No.
Why not?
Yeah, but that's a difficult thing, because Yeah, if you look at the how do you say it, the legislation, the rules, and also it is just a difficult thing for them or the government to change it in the way I want to have it changed. And no, yeah, frustrated is a big word, but it doesn't feel satisfying. You know that's the thing. Maybe it's the same thing when you're saying I'm gay, you know, and that the government says no, you're not gay. You're something different. And if I say I'm a Jew, I want to. This is my last name because that's the reason why I did it. So I didn't do it just to have two last names, you know. So yeah, but
Yes.
well, yeah, but well, we get in there. I'm getting more in touch with my Jewish background and also with religion, and also because you have here a big a liberated way of talking about religion, you know, Jewish religion. So I can ask all my questions. You know, it's just well. Also on a philosophical kind of part, you know, I have good conversation now with a new rabbin. How do you call it in?
Rabbi.
Yeah, rabbi. Yeah, I'm getting there more and more. So it's well, I see the good things in it, and I'm not frustrated in that kind of way, and also not as I'm looking back. You know, my children are really getting more into Judaism, and I'm not are dominating that. You know, I just let them do their own thing, and yeah, they have a kind of feeling that I also had as a child. So that's really beautiful.
So they seem to have a pride in the Judaism so far. Is that what you're feeling, or not yet?
Yeah, and can relate to it, but also I gave them Jewish names, so well maybe that's also the reason why I wanted to give them a Jewish name. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. I did want to ask another question. The photos of your grandparents and of the your aunt and uncle, the baby pictures. How did your mom have them?
Yeah, that's
Do you
good.
know? You don't know?
You know that they came from the house that they were she were brought up in, or uh, uh, came from, but there's a I don't know who gave them it to us, and yeah, that's a difficult thing, but because you did also some research and you interviewed me, but the first weeks that she was born and given away, you know, it's just a big black hole.
Yeah, it's a big mystery. Yes, yes. Yeah, but there were photos. Yeah, I don't know how she got them, but there were photos. I don't know.
Yeah, I think from the house, but
Yeah, but she has more long. She doesn't know for herself. She just has those photos. I don't know. She doesn't know where they came from.
It's, I think it's part of the story, to have missing elements. Many people do.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
painful.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, there's a lot of questions still also for Hein, but also for her. You know that will never be answered. But there are pieces that we could use and make this film with. So, but we can't know everything. No, just like what you say, like the photos, or how did she survive, and was she given away, and how did she end up there? You know, some things we will never know, because that's well lost in history, and she was too small to remember. But yes, we had to do it with this, and well, this is what came out.
Is there a moment though that your mom knows, like, because she could have been like, for example, Madeleine Albright. She's a famous American woman. Do you know her story? She didn't know that her grandparents, or her parents, I'm sorry, they converted or she was converted. She didn't find out until she was in her 60s, maybe. I don't know. I might have the story a little off, but she didn't find out her own identity till much, much later. How did your mom know that this was not the case for her? You don't know?
Yeah, well, yeah. What do you mean by not the case? Because she had a feeling from from her early years that this wasn't her family. So she knew that because of some, well, remarks or the conversations there were. She was also because, well, normally, well, you are pregnant and then you have a child, that's normal kind of thing. But the people who she grew up with, they just had a child. So the talking about and that was later on, about that it was really awkward and that kind of stuff. So she felt and she knew that it wasn't a normal and situation. So that was for her really, in her young years, was really, well, obviously, or was really clear for her. For these people are not my parents, but they were really the most beautiful and nice persons that you can even imagine. And well, this is really American. Hear me, the most beautiful persons, but they were really, yes, to the, yeah, well, well, did everything and took all the risk, to have let her live on and had a beautiful life, and she felt that. So it was a really good environment that she grew up in, but she knew
Wasn't her.
Yeah.
And she kept a relationship with them. Do you know? I mean, were they
Yeah, till she died, till they
till they passed away? So
yeah.
did you know them?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
so they were like your surrogate grandparents, maybe? Is that
yeah. Not sorry, they were my grandparents. Yeah, and it felt also really natural, normal. On their side, well, my father's side, that I cannot relate to, because that felt really different, and I don't mean it in a negative kind of way, but because, yeah, uh, now I understand what I missed in my youth, and that was that kind of, well, the feeling that that my grandfather and mother from my mother's side, or my, how do you say, pleegmoeders,
Foster parents.
foster parents, gave me. That was really beautiful. But and then I was all thinking about what I was missing, but later on I thought, okay, I miss a whole part of this, the intimacy, the understanding, and that kind of stuff. And I didn't feel it on my father's side. And there are nice people and beautiful people, but it is about your identity and how you feel. And yeah.
let me ask you, do you remember the first time you heard about the Holocaust and what you thought of it?
Yeah, that was when I was in first grade. And because in Holland you have 4th and 5th of May, so you on the 5th of May, it's Liberation Day, and the 4th of May is
Yeah, Memorial Day.
Memorial Day. So and that's a big thing also in your youth, I think, and that's the first time you imagine as a small child that it affects you much more than the rest. And also by seeing all the movies about the war, well, I couldn't manage that, and then you feel that is more heavy than, well, not than other people, but it feels so much heavy, and then later on you get some the conversation with your parents, and, well, you know that there's a whole story behind it, but that it takes a whole lot of years to just talk about it, and that you are able to oversee it. Is that a good question or not?
Yeah, no, but I'm surprised in first grade, actually, I mean, maybe not that to learn about the war, but that they told, that you learned about the Holocaust. Just here, they don't, Holocaust education is more in middle school when kids are closer to like 13 or 14.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's young. That's young to learn about it. And I'm just wondering, so you learned and then did it relate to you at all? Did you understand that this maybe had something to do with your family at that time? You did.
Yeah, but it was difficult. But I think if you look back, if I look back at it now, I think that I imagine a kind of weight on me, a kind of, well, negative thoughts and that kind of stuff, that I couldn't sleep at night by seeing that movies and that kind of stuff. And also because the war was here, so the memorial and every year of all talking about it and seeing it, without well, having a good conversation about it, left me as a child with all the ideas and the negative thoughts, but not well, what we do now
Mm.
with children, just to talk about it, what is going on with you or what are you feeling and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that yeah. Then I had an idea. Well, I'm different on this subject, or different in this whole story.
Were there other Jewish people at school with you?
No, no, we are the only. My mother was the only Jewish person in the whole village, and everybody knew that also. So she experienced also anti-Semitism when she was really young, because when the war was over, there wasn't a clear view about what went on and what was happening. So yeah, she had a difficult time growing up there at first, but later on she was part of the small community, but everybody knew that she was a Jewish person and she was the only one. So our story was quite known.
Wow. Well, you guys are incredible. I'm really, really impressed with this movie. I'm so glad I got to see it. And do you have other festivals that you're looking to put the film in, or is this a premiere?
Yeah, yes, it will be. Yes, well, it has been on Dutch television, but it's the first it's a premiere for the film festival. Yes, yes.
What kind of feedback are you getting in Holland?
Yeah, yeah. Well, everybody thinks it's a beautiful film. Yes, yes, we get yeah, a lot of compliments. Well, me, but also Hein, in how he speaks about everything, how open he is, and I could film everything. There was nothing off limits, so that was for me very good. But you can also see it in the movie, and people think it's very honest, a very genuine film, and everybody, well, you can't say likes it, because that would be strange, but everybody's impressed. Well, let me say it like that. Yes.
Yeah, and I get a lot of response from Jewish people here in Holland, and also from the pillars side. So people from not in the first or the second line, but in the third or fourth line from the pillars family. I get also reactions. For me, it was a really also a journey with people who are talking about sometimes uh, uh, second or third generation World War victims, who are sending me messages and that kind of stuff. Yeah, and also the things I did is I didn't knew that, because I'm not talking about it with my brothers or any relatives, but what I do going into the camps, yeah, that's not a normal thing to do, and I understand that. So then I get a really yeah, compliments is not a good word, but and respect. Well, it's good that the story is told. I think that's the way to pronounce it, and that's the positive feedback we get.
I'm so happy to hear that, because I certainly, thought the film was incredible, and I'm glad to hear other people share my opinion. You can tell you put your heart and your soul in this movie, both of you, and thank you.